This episode of Simple Civics Greenville County is brought to you by first5sc.org. If you're a parent of a young child, you know how difficult it can be to find the right resources at the right time. Childcare, getting your baby screened for vision or hearing, or links to community resources, first5sc.org can help. Parents and community partners can start the search by visiting first5sc.org to learn about local services and free resources available in Greenville, and link directly with the organizations that provide those supports. Best of all, first5sc.org is free. Just log in, answer a few questions, and in minutes, you can see if you qualify for more than 40 programs and services, all at no cost to you. And you can easily apply online, and in many cases, services can begin immediately. Visit first5sc.org for more information. What does it take to build a strong school culture and engage the community? In this episode of Simple Civics Greenville County, two Greenville County Schools principals, Ashley Wardlaw from Blue Ridge High School and Adrian Mays from Hughes Academy of Science and Technology, a middle school, share their experiences and insights. You'll hear how these school leaders are making a positive impact by fostering authentic relationships, celebrating student achievements, and rallying community support. From mentorship programs to school events, they'll share how you can get involved and support our local schools. They're interviewed by Catherine Schumacher, President and CEO of Public Education Partners.
Well, I'm really happy to be here today with my friends and colleagues, Ashley Wardlaw from Blue Ridge High School and Adrian Mays from Hughes Academy of Science and Technology. Grateful to have you both with us today. It's back to school time, so you all are working hard to welcome everyone back into your buildings. Both of you are, I think, first-time principals at your schools. And so I'd love to hear a little bit about, your pathway to where you are. So Adrian, I think you are the most recent, because last year was your first year, right?
Mm-hmm, right.
So tell a little bit. Let's start with you.
So initially, I did not want to do education at all. I wanted to be an engineer, something to make some money, right? And I took physics in high school and found out quickly that was not what I should be doing. And so really I stumbled into a program called Call Me Mr. And Call Me Mr. literally changed my life and the trajectory of everything that I do. I had an opportunity to mentor and tutor some students over a summertime at a summer program. I ran into a little girl and she could not multiply, simple multiplication. And it kind of blew my mind because I was wondering who allowed this child to fall through the cracks. Because when she goes to school, she's going to be challenged, but she's not going to be able to answer any questions in class. And so it really just kind of put my mind in a tailspin. And so I, working through Call Me Mr., summer internships, education quickly became my heart and my passion. And so I graduated from Anderson University and I got a job teaching at LaFrance Elementary School in Pendleton. And I taught for a while, 5th and 6th grade. And then I had an opportunity to come to Greenville County Schools as an administrator. And so that's how I wound up at Hughes. I was a AP there for 3 years. And last year, like you said, was my first year in the principalship. And my goal, my aim has always been to just leave an impact and to impact as many people as I can. And so in a classroom, I had a small impact there. And then on the community, I coached football and basketball, so that impact expanded a little bit. And then moving into an administrative role, it just expands and expands. And so I'm thankful for the opportunity to do what I'm able to do now and to be able to impact students and families as a principal.
That's great. Ashley, what about you? How did you get to where you are today?
Well, Adrian, that story, it's very similar. The coaching, there's a lot of similarities in our stories. So I, as well, did not have any intention of being in education. I was going to be a stockbroker. I did not, I thought I wasn't a great student. Full confession here, I'm not a great student. And high school was great. I had, a great time. I had great friends. I did. And I left and I went through college and I changed my major 4 or 5 times to the point where my senior year, I had to take 21 hours in the second semester to graduate on time. So that was really fun. But I ended up with a degree in business administration and I worked in a law firm for a little while. I worked in an organization called Champion Tots, which is an exercise program for preschool age children. And shout out to all our preschool friends out there. You are champs because they scare me to death. But that was interesting. And then an opportunity to coach fell in my lap. And I took that. And that's where, like you, Adrian, I found my passion for education. And I thought, I might do this. So I got my master's in education, and I was still coaching. Got a job at Blue Ridge High School, which is obviously where I went, where my dad went. I grew up going to football games, and when people asked me, what are you going to be when you grow up? I would say, I'm going to be a Tiger. It had nothing to do with Clemson's, but it had everything to do with Blue Ridge. So it's a part of who I am. My husband went there as well. I taught there, was assistant athletic director and coach there for 9 years, and then had an opportunity from one of my mentors who I hope I'll have a chance to speak about later, Mr. Eric Williams, gave me my first admin job at Wade Hampton, and I spent 5 years there and served under him and Dr. Carlos Grant. Learned so much there, and then an opportunity to go home came open. So I went in full speed ahead, and it has been the greatest blessing of my life.
It's a great story. I think what struck me both, you mentioned it, the fact that it's an incredible pathway with huge ripples of impact, but it's not the pathway you started on. And I think it's so important for students to hear that. I have a similar professional, like, you never know. And I think, being fully present and taking advantage of those opportunities as they present themselves is so important. So talk a little bit, what do you love about what you do as a principal? Like, what surprised you? Ashley, let's start with you.
Wow. I don't think much surprises you because kids are kids, and kids are very unique. And knowing, what my experiences were and how we came to be where we are, it's been really fun to see how you can impact kids, because it's not about a title and it's not about any of that. It's, we're all little shots, and as long as we're shooting in the same direction, we can get there.
Adrian?
Kind of along the same lines. I don't think I'm surprised by much anymore. I'm surprised at my ability to be able to manage it all and to handle it, and to kind of
that leadership piece and how do you sit in it.
Yeah. But I love being able to make an impact. I don't know how many times we're going to say the word impact on this podcast today, but I think that's really all it's about, being able to make an impact on our students and on our community.
That's great. Impact. And, Ashley, you already mentioned mentors, and Call Me Mister. I'd love to hear you talk a little bit more about the Call Me Mister program when we talk about mentorship. But, obviously, we at PEP talk a lot about how do you mentor teachers and how do you support teachers, particularly early career teachers. And both of you are early career principals. So talk a little bit about what mentorship in that space looks like and what kind of support that you've gotten and have continued to sort of seek out as you've moved through this next phase of your career. Adrian, why don't you start?
So I think the biggest thing is, like, you never forget, like, where you come from, and you never forget some of the struggles that you had as an early teacher, as an early whatever it is that you're deciding to do with your life. And so I try my best to be present and to be available for anybody who needs me, so that I can be sure that I'm providing appropriate mentorship and that I am giving them an opportunity to learn and to grow. I oftentimes tell our teachers, we have to be forever learners, and we have to always dive into the next thing. Like, we can't encourage our kids to be forever learners and to productive struggle and all those things if we're not modeling that ourselves. And so I think all of that is a part of what that mentorship looks like. You want to know who my mentors are? Is that where we're going?
I love any opportunity to shout out other educators. We will take it when we're having these conversations.
Yeah. So, of course, Call Me Mister played a vital role in my matriculation through the educational process.
You want to tell folks about the Call Me Mister program and what it is real quick, just in case they're not familiar with it, which they should be because it's amazing.
So the Call Me Mister program was an initiative for African-American males to get into the classrooms. I believe it was 2% across the country. This is not just in South Carolina. Teachers are African-American males. And so an initiative to get African American males into the classroom so that students also have an opportunity to see somebody and learn from somebody that looks like them. The Call Me Mr. program has, since its inception, we have, more individuals who are joining the Call Me Mr. program, not just African American males, so that we are expanding our outreach there. So I got into the Call Me Mr. program and I met some awesome people, specifically Mr. Mark Joseph, who kind of took me under his wing. We built a relationship quickly, and he was never forceful with me or never, condescending or anything like that. I was in college living my best life, right? And he kind of pulled me in and we had some critical conversations, and he kind of narrowed my focus.
He coached you.
Yeah, he did. He did. And he made me feel like someone versus, me having to do some sort of soul searching and to figure out, why am I even here? Like, he gave me an opportunity to really build myself. And so definitely shout out to Mr. Mark Joseph and Call Me Mr. Also, I'm a member of an organization in Greenville and in the upstate called Bold Leadership, where they are principals, community leaders who mentor me, and we can kind of bounce ideas off of each other. We talk every day. There's never a day that goes by that we don't have a conversation, just kind of about life and manhood and principleship and so many different things. My predecessor, Mr. Finley, I talk to him often, and he gives me great ideas and just a sounding board of what it takes to do this job. I literally could go on and on and on about people who I talk to who pour into me every day and weekly about, what it takes to do this job and what it takes to be a good person.
So that you can pour it into the students and your teachers, your teachers and staff in your buildings. Ashley, what about you? You already mentioned Eric Williams. And so talk a little bit about who has sort of helped you on your journey.
Well, I would be amiss if I didn't mention my parents first. Just they believed I could do anything and let me try and fail. So shout out to them. And then Eric Williams took a chance on the girl from up the mountain, the Blue Ridge girl, and gave me my first job. And I still sometimes ask him, what in the world? I can't even imagine that first interview where I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know anything about administration. And he saw something in me, thank goodness, and hired me and taught me so much. Scott Reimer, once I got into the principalship, recently retired, he always had my back. He supported me. He answered all the questions in the world, even the crazy ones of a first-year principal, a second-year principal, but he's been super supportive. Tracy Hogan, she's really taught me a lot about students with disabilities and how to reach them and different ways of thinking out of the box, because at the end of the day, talking about that impact, we need to impact kids. It is critical because education for many is a ticket to a different life. So we have to find a way. So I would give them huge shout outs.
Yeah. Well, I do think it's that sort of it flows down, right? Like all of this mentorship, it just enables you to have the skills that you need. So one of the reasons I wanted to talk to the two of you in particular is I think you do such incredible work at culture building and sort of really building up and building up the culture in your walls so everyone feels like part of that family. And I think relationships first, right? You can't teach without relationships. So I would love for you to just share a little bit about how you go about building culture and what your priorities have been as you've stepped into these roles. Ashley, why don't you start?
So I think with culture, me stepping into Blue Ridge was a little bit unique because it was a part of me. I say
it was home.
Yeah, I bleed red and black. So it was very easy for me to show the love of the school because I love it. And I think as part of culture, it's not, you don't go around and say, I'm building a better culture. You don't say that. It's just a part of what happens. And I think when people see an authentic and true version and a true spirit of love, they will buy in. And we've done a really great job at Blue Ridge of sticking with things that are simple enough that anybody can understand and get on board with. Our motto is hear us roar. We're the Tigers, so hear us roar. But the roar stands for something, and it stands for what we're going to do as a school. Talking about the relationships. The first R is building relationships with all of our stakeholders, which is a big part of why I'm so excited to be here today and reaching more people. The O is establishing an organization that promotes the achievement of all of our students. And finally, rallying our community behind our school. So we just continue to push that and say that, and everything that we do, no matter what it is, where it comes from, as long as it fits under that umbrella, we take it and we run with it. And it has caught on, and you hear us roar everywhere. Hashtag hear us roar. Go
Awesome.
Tigers.
It's awesome. Adrian, what about you?
So I think, listening to Ashley talk, I think she used the word authentic. And I think people really want to be around somebody that they can trust and somebody who is authentic with them, someone who will listen to them, someone who will respond to them. And I wake up every day with a plan and a purpose to do just that, not just with the adults in our building, not just with the students in our building, but for every person that comes in that door. My goal is to be authentic and to show that I really do care. It's not something that you say, it's something that you do. You show you care, there's action behind it. And that just bubbles over. Talk about impact again, that bubbles over into our teachers, which bubbles over into our students. And we try to be intentional about celebrations and programs and kindness day and just loving on each other to show camaraderie in our building and in our community. We have families come in. I always encourage parents to come into our building so that we build strong relationships with the school and with the community. We try to have events to where our families can come into the building. And, Mr. Mays is not just a name you hear, but, we're in the car line, we're waving and we're sending out phone blasts and emails, and you're constantly hearing from us. So communication is a big thing in order to build a strong culture. And again, just making sure that the vision and the mission is clear and that we are all doing, what we said we're going to do, which is to make an impact on our community and to celebrate our kids because they deserve it.
That's absolutely true. I love hearing community and sort of family and engagement, all of that. Obviously, with back to school, I always say that schools are critical infrastructure. That's what I always say. I say it all the time. It's like roads, bridges, schools, like that's where we are. How can people help? I mean, I think people should be supporting our public schools, even if they don't have kids in the schools, for that very reason that it's so important. So where are places that folks can plug in and support the work that you're doing or the work that's happening in the, neighborhood school down the street?
That's a great question. Mentorship is huge. And so we've expanded our mentoring program at our school to where we have parents that come in or community members that come in and mentor some of our kids, whether it be in the morning, whether it be bringing them lunch and, having lunch with them sometimes during the week. We have a program at our school called Hughes Dudes, which Mr. Finley kind of started and continuing, where dads come in our school and they stand in the hallways and watch our kids as they come in and build relationships with them. As I said earlier, I'm always encouraging, families to come into the building and seeing what we're doing. And so I would say if anybody's interested in mentoring any of our kids, that would be great. We could always use supplies. We have students who sometimes just don't have the means. And so any supplies would be great. But I think really just rallying behind our teachers and motivating them and standing strong with them and showing support to the work that they're doing, because our teachers have a hard job. They hear it from administration. They hear it from parents. They hear it from kids. It comes from all over. And so our teachers need as much support as they can when it comes to kids going home, making sure they're doing their homework or making sure they're studying or making sure they're turning in their work. So our NHIs are going down, all of those types of things. If anybody really wants to support school, we need to support our teachers. And we need to really stand in the gap for them and make sure that they have the support that they need so that at the end of the day, our kids are learning.
Yeah, well, elevate teachers. That's right at the top of PEP's list. So, Ashley, what about you? How can folks help you?
I love that you brought that up about teachers. I think sometimes we wait until Teacher Appreciation Week to celebrate our teachers, and really, a simple email to a teacher, whether you know them or not, thanks for what you do, goes a long way. I mean, that's huge. So I definitely agree with that. Anything that anybody wants to do for teachers, drop off a goodie bag, just send them an email, write them a card, that would be great. Volunteers, we can always use volunteers at our schools. Our canteen runs every day. Our PTA runs our canteen, always in need of volunteers. Mentors. Blue Ridge is a pretty unique school because we have one middle school that feeds us, and then that middle school has 3 elementary schools that feed them.
It's a closed community.
Yeah, we're very close.
Unusual,
so it's common that, our kids have known each other since they were in first grade, and having families that can come in and help mentor other students that maybe aren't in a great situation, or just help out, volunteer. The doors are always open. We also want to invite to our athletic events. We've got athletic events happening all the time at the high school level. So just come out, support our athletes. We have a new athletic director this year we're really excited about, Austin Abercrombie. So we're excited about the trajectory of our athletic programs. And we've got, I'm not sure when this will air, but Return to the Ridge Rally, where we welcome all our students, all our community to come to our school. It's a drop-in event on August 5th from 4 to 7, where we just say, hey, welcome back. It's a great, fun event.
Welcome to the family.
Yeah, we got, popcorn. We got a DJ. It's a fun time. So
that's great. I'm grateful to both of you to bring, because it's such a hard job. Being a principal is a really hard job because, it's hard to be anywhere in education. But I think principals, you're in the middle, right? And you've got these expectations, and then you've got families. And so everything that you have to juggle, and to be able to do it with love and intentionality and a real passion, which is obvious in this conversation with both of you. So is there anything else you all want to share with listeners before we sign off?
I just want to say thanks. This was great. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Good.
Yeah, definitely say thanks and just continue to be good people. I think we're in a trying time, very interesting time in our world, across the board, not just politics or anything, just an interesting time period. And so just continue to be good people and love on each other, because we all need it. We all need somebody to stand in the gap. So let's continue to do that.
Yeah, relationships first.
That's it.
It's the way. It's the way to do all
it.
the things. So, well, thank you both for joining me today. Thanks so much.
Simple Civics Greenville County is a project of Greater Good Greenville. Greater Good Greenville was catalyzed by the merger of the Nonprofit Alliance and the Greenville Partnership for Philanthropy. You can learn more on our website at greatergoodgreenville.org.